Hey there, and welcome to a Learn in Lebanon podcast. I'm your host and City of Lebanon intern, Lauren Argate. In this podcast series, we explore the educational opportunities offered by the Lebanon Community School Corporation. Today, I am joined with 3 of the cast members from The Play That Goes Wrong, which will be presented April 11th to April 13th by Lebanon High School. In today's podcast, we'll be talking to these cast members about their experiences and the joys of the theater program. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining today's podcast. Would you first be able to go around, starting with Dawson, and just introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi, my name is Dawson Hix. I play Chris and Inspector Carter in the show. I've been doing theater since 8th grade. I think this is somewhere in the 20th of my show, something like that. I also work at Black Box Theater and teach kids acting and stuff like that too.
My name is GraceAnne Newman. I'm a senior. I've been doing theater since I was in about 3rd grade, so I don't even know how many shows that I've done. I volunteer at Black Box and I work at our local Dairy Queen, and I do a lot of sports within the school as well.
Hi, my name is Joseph Reinhardt. I have not been doing theater as much as those two. I've only done it since 7th grade, and I don't do much outside of the school as far as performing goes, but I am a 4-year member of Charisma and comedy sports at the high school. And I also am very involved in student government and other clubs around the school.
So we have 3 of the seniors here that are all a part of the play. Can one of you introduce the play, what it is, what's it about?
Yeah, sure, totally. The show, it's about... So there's a drama society, very low budget, very small drama society, and they're putting on the biggest show that they've ever done, and it's called Murder at Haversham Manor. And everything just starts to go wrong. The acting is rough. People start forgetting their lines. The set starts to fall apart. Yeah, it's a fun show.
So that sounds like a fun show. Feeling about it being a couple weeks away.
A little nervous, but
Very nervous,
Yeah.
still working out some of the kinks on the set and everything as it all comes together, but
it'll come together in the end, and it'll be a great show.
it'll be so much fun. We can't wait for you guys to come see it.
most definitely.
And you guys had a great Newsies production, and that was an amazing experience to watch it. So as people come into this play, what do you hope they expect, and what are the expectations that you hope they have?
I think they should expect a very different show than what they might have expected from Newsies. Obviously, it's not a musical, so there won't be any singing and dancing in it, but maybe expect to hear a little bit of a sound effect that you might recognize.
And definitely expect a lot more laughing. This is a hilarious show. So
It is so much fun to watch this show happen. I saw the show a while ago at the Clues Memorial Theater at Butler, and it was such a fun show, and I see all of that comedy and laughter and everything every single day in rehearsal, and it's so much fun.
So talking about rehearsals, what have been some of the favorite memories, whether practicing or behind the scenes, preparing for the show? What have been some of the favorite memories along the way?
this past Saturday, we had like a set building day, and we just had a blast because the set's very technical. And so building all the walls and some of the gimmicks and stuff that we use on stage, it was a blast to have.
One of my favorite experiences, which this may sound a little immature, we were doing a rehearsal in the community rooms, and Joseph was giving his final speech, and one of our performers passed gas in the middle of it. Miss Becker described it as pure comedy due to it being so out of nowhere.
I think probably one of my favorite rehearsal moments was actually yesterday. We did an Italian run, which is where you run through everything really fast, saying all of your lines in double time. And you don't use any props, you just do the movement and mime it all out. And we did one of that for the whole show, and it was so much fun. It really made me really excited for the show to come together and do a full run.
That's so exciting. So you guys have rehearsals probably very, very often just to prepare and make sure that's the best it can be. And I know a couple of you have been involved in theater for a couple years, some for almost your whole childhood. As you prepare for the future, what are your future plans?
To be determined for me, to be honest. I'm leaving it open. I have a couple things that I'm debating between, but I'm still not fully sure.
I plan to go to college and major in music education to hopefully someday become a high school choir teacher. An undecided college at this point, but that decision should hopefully be coming about soon.
So I actually was just flipping between 2 colleges, and I recently settled on IU Bloomington. I plan to go to study human resources management and law and public policy at their O'Neill School, and after that I plan to go to law school.
That's so fun. And I know you all have such bright futures ahead of you, but how has the theater program maybe helped grow certain skills or helped you grow throughout life?
Yeah, it really boosts your confidence, and just you're a lot more social. One of the things at Black Box that we teach, like our main motto, is teaching character to build character. And I feel like acting and things like that, it boosts your character, it makes you who you are, and just makes you a lot more social.
I actually when I first started theater, I had major stage fright, and I was not good at talking in front of people. Even a small group like what we have here now, I would be stuttering and just so nervous that there wouldn't be thoughts really coming out of my mouth. But then after doing theater for a few years, I really built my confidence, and now I talk in front of people, which is really helpful for my future career.
I'd say performing in general has really given me that extra boost of confidence. It's really helped me in a lot of things like interviews. I do DECA as well, and I think performing and DECA are two things that go very much hand in hand, because DECA is basically improv about business, and it's so nice to see how theater and performing can really impact so many areas of your life in seemingly unnoticeable ways. But then when you look at it, you see what's all been touched by performing.
I love how you talked about the impact. And so, GraceAnne, you are going to music education. I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
Okay.
But do you want to talk about maybe why you chose that major?
I've always wanted to be a teacher, and the question was just what was I going to teach? And I fell in love with music at a very young age, and through Mrs. Sheff and our middle school choir director, Mrs. Willman, I learned that it is really such a big passion of mine that I want to share the way that they were able to share it with me and help other students understand how to use music in the best ways possible.
I love that. And I know, Dawson, you talked about how you also help at the Black Box. Do you want to talk about the experience there and what you've even been able to learn from the children that you're teaching?
Oh, yeah, it's an amazing experience. Every time I go, I work there every week. It's amazing to see the process of how the kids grow, because so many of them come in and they're not very confident in themselves. They're very quiet, reserved, and it's so fun to watch them grow each time I come in and see their confidence level build and their characters build. It's honestly beautiful. It's amazing.
And writing kind of off of that, that's probably a core memory for them, getting to learn from people that they look up to. And so throughout your theater program, and you're entering maybe one of your last performances at Lebanon High School, what's been one of your favorite memories just along the whole process? I know we kind of talked about this specific play, but just the whole theater program in general, if you have another memory you'd like to share.
I think for myself, it was my freshman year in Crucible, when I got to work alongside a lot of my brother's friends who I grew up with and grew up around, and they were always so welcoming towards me. And Taylor Moss was a scene partner for me where she actually had to fake slap me. And there was a moment on stage when I turned the opposite direction because she brought her hand up to do a backswing, a backhanded slap. And I was prepared for a regular slap.
I think my favorite memory is from my sophomore year play in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I think probably the funniest line I've ever said, my magnum opus, was "Tweezers." It was so funny. It always got a laugh. It was like my favorite line ever. I'd say either that or like the entirety of Murder on the Orient Express. That was a really good show.
Yeah, and going off of that, I think one of my favorite memories, I played Hercule Poirot in Murder on the Orient Express, the lead. And honestly, just one of my favorite memories was the very last scene. I have like a couple pages of a monologue, and it was very long, but it was so much fun because just that cast we just had so much fun together. Everybody knew each other. We were all friends. And so just being up there on stage and saying the monologue and being able to act with all of them was so much fun.
That's so fun. And I know the theater program always puts on such good productions and always invites so many community members to come out and watch. And they always have such an enjoyment watching it, coming from the community side of things. But I now just want to open the floor if you guys have any shout outs you want to give to anyone who's helped you along the way, or just anything else you want to say to the listeners.
I would really like to thank Miss Becker and Mrs. Sheff and Mrs. Wolfgang. They have been three of the biggest influences on my time performing in high school. I've known Mrs. Wolfgang since middle school with Black Box, and then Mrs. Sheff and Miss Becker really helped me grow my confidence as an actor and as a person. And I don't think I would be the same person without their influence on my high school career.
I completely also agree with what Joey just said, but I would also like to give a shout out to Evan Wolfgang, who's been able to come in and help with some of our shows and some of our acting. He just helped two of our performers with a sword fight and how they can safely manage to do that. And him bringing in his acting experience to show us is just so amazing, especially because it's such a younger perspective for us, rather than some of the adults in our lives that we think of as just being role models, while this one can kind of relate to us and is living through the same things as we did.
Yeah, They said it all. Miss Becker and Miss Chef and Evan Wolfgang and Mrs. Wolfgang, they've all just been so amazing. They've helped me grow so much as an actor and as a person in general. They're all such amazing people, so kind. We've had a lot of help throughout the years. We've had some of the French teachers here come and help us with some of the productions. Kelly Johnson, she came in and helped us with like some of our accent work, and it's been so much fun meeting so many different people for each show.
That's so inspiring, and it takes truly probably a village to make sure a production can happen. But thank you again for joining me on this podcast. And for the listeners, make sure to come watch The Play That Goes Wrong in just a few weeks. We hope that you enjoy it, and we hope that we see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Learn in Lebanon podcast. Don't forget to buy your tickets, whether it's at the door or using the link below. We hope to see you there.